The splash echoed across the country club pool. 8-year-old Tyler sank like a stone, couldn't swim, couldn't scream. Autism made water his worst nightmare. 40 people in designer suits stood frozen. 3 rich boys laughed, phones recording. Tyler's biker father was inside, unaware his son was drowning. No one moved to help. Then Eli, a homeless kid who'd been hiding in the kitchen, starving, invisible, saw what everyone else ignored. He ran. What happened in the next 60 seconds would save one life, destroy another, and expose a conspiracy that went all the way to the mayor's office. If this story gripped you, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. You won't believe what happens next. The wrench slipped from Marcus Mitchell's oil-stained hands, clattering against the concrete floor of his shop. He stared at his phone like it might bite him. Mr. Mitchell, this is Keisha Moore, Tyler's occupational therapist. I have wonderful news. The mayor's wife personally invited Tyler to the Youth Inclusion Gala at Riverside Country Club this Saturday. It's a huge opportunity for autism awareness, and Tyler's been working so hard on his social skills. I really think. Marcus ended the voicemail, jaw tight. Riverside Country Club. Where men wore watches worth more than his motorcycle. Where women clutched pearls, literally and figuratively. When people like him walked by. But then he heard it. That sound that melted every wall he'd ever built. Tyler's footsteps, uneven and eager, padding across the shop floor. 8 years old, Yankees cap backwards, tablet clutched to his chest like a lifeline. His son's eyes, bright, trusting, beautiful, locked onto his. Tyler's fingers danced across the communication device. The robotic voice spoke his heart, Dad. Pool. Party. Friends. Marcus's chest tightened. 3 words. 3 simple words that contained every dream his son had ever had. To be included. To be normal. To be seen as more than his diagnosis. Yeah, buddy, Marcus said, voice rough. Pool party. Tyler's hands flapped rapidly, pure, unfiltered joy. He spun in a circle, stimmying with excitement, and Marcus felt his resolve crumble. They didn't belong at places like Riverside. But his son deserved to try. Saturday arrived with cruel sunshine. Marcus pulled his Harley into the country club's circular driveway, Tyler clinging to his back, life vest already strapped on beneath his shirt. The engine's rumble died, leaving only the sound of fountain water and polite laughter. A valet appeared, college-aged, polo shirt pressed sharp enough to cut. His eyes traveled from the motorcycle's worn leather seat to Marcus's tattooed forearms, landing finally on the club's pristine entrance. Sir, motorcycles are typically parked in the rear lot. Near the service entrance. Marcus swung off the bike, lifting Tyler down gently. We're guests. Front entrance works fine. The valet's smile never reached his eyes. Of course, sir. They walked through doors that whispered money with every hinge movement. The lobby smelled like imported flowers and old privilege. Crystal chandeliers. Marble floors that reflected Tyler's uncertain steps. Marcus Mitchell. The voice belonged to a man in his 50s, silver hair perfectly styled, smile practiced to clinical perfection. His name tag read, Prescott Vance, club manager. Mr. Vance. Marcus shook his hand firmly. Too firmly, judging by Vance's subtle wince. We're delighted to host your son today. Such a wonderful initiative, inclusion. The word tasted rehearsed. The pool area is through those doors. Though I should mention, given Tyler's special needs, we have a lovely indoor playroom. Climate-controlled, supervised, away from the water hazards. Marcus felt heat rising in his chest. My son has every right to use the pool. I'll be watching him. Vance's smile tightened. Naturally. We simply want to ensure all our guests feel comfortable. The unspoken words hung in the air like smoke. People like you make people like us uncomfortable. Marcus guided Tyler toward the terrace doors, one protective hand on his son's shoulder. Behind them, he heard Vance murmur into a radio, "Security, we may have a situation developing. Keep eyes on the Mitchell party." The pool area sprawled beneath a ruthless sun. Olympic-sized water, impossibly blue. Adults clustered in designer swimwear, champagne glasses sweating in their hands. Children splashed and shrieked with the careless confidence of those who'd never known want. Tyler froze at the threshold, overwhelmed. Too many sounds. Too many people. Too much everything. Marcus knelt beside him. "You okay, champ?" Tyler's hands moved to his ears, blocking out the sensory assault. But then his eyes found the water, and something shifted. Wonder replaced fear. He typed slowly, "Water. Pretty. Can swim. Yeah, buddy. Let's get you set up in the shallow end." They made their way to the pool's edge, and Marcus felt every stare like a brand. A mother pulled her toddler closer as they passed. Two men in polo shirts stopped talking, eyes tracking Tyler's stimmying hands with undisguised discomfort. But Tyler noticed none of it. He was focused on the water, on the dream of normalcy, on floating in a world that couldn't judge him. Marcus helped him into the shallow end, flotation devices secure. "Stay right here, okay? I need to talk to the manager for 1 second." 1 second. Tyler nodded, already mesmerized by the way sunlight danced on water. Near the outdoor bar, 3 teenage boys watched with predatory interest. Brendan Whitmore, 17, varsity jacket despite the heat, mayor's son and untouchable, leaned against the railing. His friends flanked him like jackals, Chase Hendricks and Trent Marlowe, trust fund clones in expensive board shorts. "That's the retard kid?" Chase asked, voice low but not low enough. Brendan's eyes narrowed. "My dad invited them. Some PR stunt about inclusion and community. Makes me sick." "Dude, why's the biker trash even here?" Trent pulled out his phone, zooming in on Marcus talking with Vance near the clubhouse entrance. "This is a private club. Not private enough." Brendan watched Tyler splash gently in the shallow end, hands moving in repetitive patterns. "My dad's trying to look compassionate. Election year. But you know what I see." His friends waited. "An opportunity." Chase grinned. "Community service hours. Better. Entertainment." They moved closer to the pool, casual and unhurried. Brendan's court-ordered community service, 50 hours for an assault charge his father had buried, needed completing. But more than that, he was bored. And bored rich boys with grudges were dangerous. In the kitchen, behind industrial refrigerators and prep stations, Eli Torres tried to make himself invisible. 14 years old. Hollow cheeks. Clothes 2 sizes too big, stained with the evidence of street living. His backpack, containing every possession he owned, sat tucked behind a box of tablecloths. He'd slipped in through the service entrance an hour ago, waiting for the event to end, hoping to grab leftover food before staff noticed. 2 days since his last real meal. 3 weeks since he'd slept anywhere that wasn't concrete. Through the kitchen service window, Eli could see the pool. See the wealthy families. See a world he'd never belonged to. Then he saw the boy. The one with the Yankees cap, splashing in the shallow end. Hands moving in patterns Eli recognized instantly, stimmying. His chest constricted with memory so sharp it hurt. Sophia. His little sister. 7 years old when she drowned. Autism made her fearless around water and silent when she needed to scream for help. Eli had been at school. Mom had been sleeping off another bender. Sophia had wandered to the apartment complex pool, climbed the fence, and slipped into water that swallowed her whole. By the time Eli got home, it was too late. Mom blamed him. You should have been watching her. He'd been on the streets ever since, carrying guilt heavier than his backpack. Now, watching this boy, this kid who looked so much like Sophia, who moved like Sophia, who probably saw the world through the same beautiful, unreachable lens, Eli felt something crack inside his chest. Brendan approached Tyler with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Hey, buddy. Cool cap. Tyler looked up, uncertain but hopeful. Social interaction was hard. But this boy seemed friendly. Brendan crouched by the pool's edge. Want to see something awesome? He pulled out a small rubber toy, a superhero figurine, and dangled it over the deep end. Bet you can't reach this. Tyler's eyes locked on the toy. He loved superheroes. His tablet was full of them. Come on, Brendan coaxed, moving toward the 8-foot depth marker. Just swim over here. Chase and Trent positioned themselves, phones out, recording. Tyler stood in the shallow end, life vest bright orange against his pale skin. He wanted the toy. Wanted to be brave. Wanted to be like the other kids who swam fearlessly. He took a step toward deeper water. That's it, Brendan encouraged, backing up. Just a little closer. Tyler couldn't swim. Not really. The life vest helped, but only if he stayed calm. And right now, focused on the toy, on the older boy's approval, on the dream of fitting in, he wasn't thinking about safety. He reached for the superhero. Brendan stepped back, letting the toy dangle over water Tyler couldn't touch bottom in. Tyler lunged. Lost his balance. Fell forward. The splash was different this time. Not playful. Urgent. Tyler went under, and autism stole his ability to scream. Water filled his mouth, his nose, his lungs. Panic seized his body but couldn't translate to the thrashing that might save him. He sank. Silent. Invisible. 40 adults stood within 20 feet, glasses in hand, conversations flowing. Not one noticed. Brendan's face went pale. Oh shit. Chase lowered his phone. Dude, he can't swim. Trent backed up. We should. But they didn't move. Just stood there, frozen, as an 8-year-old boy drowned 15 feet away. In the kitchen window, Eli saw it all. Saw the deliberate setup. Saw the fall. Saw the deadly stillness of real drowning. Saw Sophia all over again. And this time, he could do something. Eli ran. Eli's sneakers hit marble tile with a sound like gunfire. Staff members shouted, "Hey, you can't be in here." But he was already through the terrace doors, already calculating angles and distance. Tyler was 6 feet under. Sinking deeper. The world narrowed to a single, crystalline point, save him. Eli didn't break stride. Didn't hesitate. Didn't think about the 40 wealthy witnesses or the consequences of a homeless kid crashing their perfect afternoon. He dove. The water swallowed him whole, cold shocking his system despite the summer heat. His clothes became anchors, jeans soaking up pool water, hoodie dragging him down. But Eli had grown up swimming in public pools, had spent summers diving for coins tourists threw into fountains. He knew water. And he knew drowning. Tyler hung suspended in blue silence, eyes wide and terrified, arms moving in slow motion like he was reaching for something only he could see. No thrashing. No dramatic struggle. Just the quiet surrender of a body that didn't know how to fight. Eli grabbed Tyler's shirt, pulling him close. The boy panicked instantly. Autism made unexpected touch overwhelming even when it was salvation. Tyler's small fists connected with Eli's chest, his face, trying to escape the helping hands he couldn't understand. Eli held firm. Not rough, but unshakable. The same way he'd learned to hold Sophia during her meltdowns, letting her know through pressure and presence, "You're safe, I've got you, stop fighting and trust me." Tyler's body recognized something in that grip. Some ancient mammalian instinct that whispered, "This person won't let you die." He stopped struggling. Eli kicked hard, lungs burning, his free arm pulling them both toward light. His vision spotted at the edges, lack of oxygen, physical exhaustion, 2 days without food catching up brutally. Just a little further. Just hold on. They broke the surface together. Tyler coughed, gagged, sucked in air with desperate, rattling gasps. Water streamed from his nose, his mouth, his Yankees cap floating away like a tiny lost ship. Eli's own breathing came in ragged bursts, but he kept Tyler's head above water, kept him stable, kept swimming for the pool's edge where hands, finally, belatedly, reached down. Adult hands. Manicured hands. Hands that had done nothing while a child drowned. They pulled Tyler up first, laying him on warm concrete. He curled into himself immediately, overwhelmed and shutting down, hands clamped over his ears, body rocking. Eli hauled himself out, water pouring from his clothes, forming puddles on designer stone. His chest heaved. His vision swam. But Tyler was breathing. That was all that mattered. Tyler. The roar came from the clubhouse entrance. Marcus Mitchell exploded through the crowd like a wrecking ball, shoving past champagne-drunk socialites and frozen teenagers. He dropped to his knees, hands hovering over his son's shaking body, desperate to comfort but knowing touch might make the sensory overload worse. "Tyler, buddy, look at me. Look at Dad." But Tyler couldn't. His eyes were squeezed shut, his world reduced to the terrible feeling of water in his lungs and chaos in his brain. Marcus's gaze snapped up, landing on Eli, soaking wet, skeletal, clearly not belonging here. Their eyes met. And Marcus saw it. Saw the exhaustion, the wet clothes, the way this kid was swaying on his feet. Saw someone who'd risked everything to save a stranger. "You pulled him out." Eli nodded, throat too tight for words. "Thank you." Marcus's voice cracked. "God, thank you, son." Then the sirens cut through the moment like broken glass. Security arrived first. 3 men in blazers, led by Gerald Crane. Ex-cop, still carried himself like he wore a badge, still looked at the world through the lens of who belonged and who didn't. Everyone stepped back. EMTs are on the way. But Crane's eyes weren't on Tyler. They were on Eli, cataloging every detail, the threadbare clothes, the too thin frame, the backpack visible through the open kitchen door. "You. What's your name?" Eli's stomach dropped. "Eli Torres." "You a member here?" "No, sir." "Guest of a member?" Silence. Crane's expression hardened. "Then what the hell are you doing on private property?" "He just saved my son's life." Marcus stood, placing himself between Crane and Eli. "That's what he's doing." "Sir, I need you to calm down." "Don't tell me to calm down. My 8-year-old was drowning and this kid was the only person who moved." The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Because it was true. 40 witnesses, and not one had reacted. Brendan Whitmore's voice cut through the tension, high and panicked. He pushed Tyler. "We saw it." Every head turned. Brendan stood with Chase and Trent, phone in hand, face flushed. "We were right there. That homeless kid ran up and shoved Tyler into the deep end. We tried to stop him, but..." "That's a lie." Eli's voice cracked. "We have video." Chase held up his phone, screen glinting in sunlight. "We recorded the whole thing." Marcus lunged forward. Crane's hand shot out, stopping him. "Sir, I need you to stand down right now. They're lying." "Look at my son, does he look like he was playing around?" But Crane was already moving toward Brendan, hand outstretched. "Let me see that footage." Brendan handed over his phone with shaking fingers. Crane watched, face unreadable. The angle showed Eli running toward the pool. Showed Tyler at the edge. Showed Eli reaching him just as Tyler fell. But the edit, so clean, so professional, done in the 30 seconds between Tyler surfacing and Marcus arriving, made it look like Eli's hands were on Tyler's back. Made it look like a push. "That's not what happened," Eli whispered. Crane pocketed the phone. "I'm going to need you to stay right here until the police arrive." "You can't be serious." Marcus's voice echoed off the clubhouse walls. "My son is alive because of him." Prescott Vance appeared, emerging from the crowd like a shark scenting blood. "Mr. Mitchell, please. Let's allow the authorities to handle this." "Handle what?" "A hero being framed. We have 3 witnesses," Vance gestured to Brendan and his friends, "and video evidence suggesting this young man attacked your son." "He didn't attack anyone." "Those boys," Marcus pointed at Brendan, recognition dawning. "I saw them near Tyler before I went inside. They were circling him like." "Mr. Mitchell." Vance's voice dropped to ice. "I understand you're upset. But making wild accusations against the mayor's son won't help your situation." "The mayor's son." The words hung in the air like a noose. Marcus's jaw clenched so hard Eli heard teeth grinding. Because he understood now. Understood the game, the players, the rules that had been rigged before the first card was dealt. Rich boys. Poor kid. One guess who the system would believe. The ambulance arrived with EMTs who wrapped Tyler in blankets and checked his vitals. Stable. Traumatized, but stable. The police arrived 90 seconds later. Officer Wade Granger climbed out of the cruiser. Mid-40s, tired eyes that had seen this story play out 1,000 times. Kid from the wrong side of town. Incident at the country club. Witnesses with money. He already knew how it would end. Who called this in? Crane stepped forward. "I did. We have a minor who was assaulted and nearly drowned. 3 witnesses, video evidence." Granger's eyes found Eli, assessed him in one long glance. Homeless. Skinny. Scared. "Son, I need you to come with me." "Officer, please," Marcus tried again. "Sir, are you a witness to the actual incident?" "I'm his father." "Did you see what happened before your son entered the water?" Marcus's silence was answer enough. Granger turned to Brendan. "You saw the whole thing?" "Yes, sir. All 3 of us." Brendan's voice had steadied, coached by years of privilege and the knowledge that consequences were for other people. "That boy attacked Tyler. Pushed him into the deep end. We yelled for help, but it happened so fast." "That's not true." Eli's voice barely registered above the murmuring crowd. "You saying these witnesses are lying?" Granger asked. "I'm saying I saved him. I saw Tyler fall, those boys were taunting him with a toy, making him reach into the deep end. When he fell, they just stood there. I dove in because no one else would." "That's convenient," Crane muttered. Granger pulled out handcuffs. Not the adult kind, juvenile restraints, smaller, but the metallic click still sounded like doom. "Eli Torres, you're under arrest for assault and reckless endangerment of a minor." The words didn't feel real. Eli stood there, dripping pool water onto expensive stone, and watched the officer approach like it was happening to someone else. Marcus grabbed Granger's arm. "You're making a mistake. Sir, let go of me right now or you'll be arrested for obstruction." Marcus released him, but his voice carried across the terrace. "I will fix this. You hear me, Eli? I will fix this." Eli looked at him, this stranger, this father, this man who actually believed the system could be fixed. No one ever does, Eli said quietly. Granger guided him toward the cruiser, one hand on his shoulder. Not rough, but not gentle either. Just the practiced efficiency of a man processing paperwork. Tyler, wrapped in his blanket, broke free from the EMT. He stumbled toward Eli, hands reaching out, trying to type on the communication device that was waterlogged and useless. His mouth formed words that wouldn't come. Sounds emerged, distressed, desperate, but not language. He grabbed Eli's wet sleeve. The EMT pulled him back gently. Sweetie, you need to stay with us. But Tyler fought, melting down completely now, the trauma and sensory overload and injustice crashing over him in waves he couldn't verbalize. His tablet was ruined. His voice was gone. And the boy who saved him was being taken away in handcuffs. Eli was placed in the back of the cruiser. Through the window, he watched Marcus arguing with Granger, watched Tyler having a full meltdown, watched Brendan standing with his friends, phones already pocketed, faces carefully arranged into shocked innocence. The car pulled away from Riverside Country Club. And in the rearview mirror, Eli saw Prescott Vance approach Marcus with a tight smile, saw him lean in close and say something that made the biker's face go white with rage. Then they turned a corner, and the country club disappeared. Eli leaned his head against the window, wrists aching from the restraints. He'd saved a life. And the reward was a cage. Outside, the city rolled past, familiar streets where he'd slept in doorways, dug through dumpsters, survived on scraps and willpower. He was going back to those streets eventually. The system always sent kids like him back. But first, they'd make him pay for daring to be a hero in a world that wanted him invisible. The cruiser merged onto the highway. And somewhere behind them, in a country club office, Brendan Whitmore was already deleting the original footage from his cloud storage. The juvenile detention center smelled like industrial cleaner and despair. Marcus Mitchell sat in the visiting room, hands clasped so tight his knuckles had gone white. 24 hours since the pool. 24 hours since his son nearly died and the boy who saved him got arrested for it. 24 hours of calling lawyers who either laughed or quoted fees that would bankrupt him. The door buzzed open. Eli shuffled in wearing an orange jumpsuit 3 sizes too big, wrists marked with red lines from yesterday's restraints. He looked smaller somehow. Like the detention center had already started erasing him. A guard directed him to the plastic chair across from Marcus. 15 minutes. They sat in silence for a long moment, separated by a table scarred with carved initials and dried coffee rings. Other families occupied nearby tables, mothers crying, fathers rigid with barely contained rage, children too young to understand why they couldn't go home. "How's Tyler?" Eli asked finally. Marcus's throat worked. "Scared. Won't go near water. Won't use his backup communication device. Therapist says he's processing trauma." He paused. "He keeps trying to ask about you. Wants to know if you're okay. Tell him I'm fine. Don't lie to my kid." Eli's face cracked slightly. "Then tell him I'm surviving. It's what I'm good at." Marcus leaned forward. "The public defender called me this morning. Said they're offering you a deal." "I know. She was here an hour ago." Eli's voice was hollow. "Plead guilty to reckless endangerment. 6 months juvenile detention, probation after. You're not taking it." She says with 3 witnesses and video evidence, if we go to trial I'm looking at 2 years minimum. Maybe tried as an adult. Eli laughed bitterly. "Funny. I'm not old enough to vote, but I'm old enough for adult prison. That video is fake. Those boys are lying. Doesn't matter what's true. Matters what they can prove." Eli met Marcus's eyes. "I've been in the system my whole life. Foster homes, group homes, juvie twice for stealing food. You know what I learned? The system protects people with power. And I'm not people with power. Marcus slammed his palm on the table. The guard's hand went to his belt, but Marcus didn't look away from Eli. You saved my son when 40 people just watched. You think I'm gonna let you rot in here for doing the right thing? Why do you even care? You don't know me. I know you jumped into that pool. That's all I need to know. Eli's eyes started to water, but he blinked it back hard. Kids like him didn't cry. Crying was weakness, and weakness got you hurt. The public defender says this is the best deal I'll get. Take it, do my time, move on. Move on to what? More streets. More survival. Marcus shook his head. No. We fight this. With what? You got money for a real lawyer? Because I sure as hell don't. I'll figure it out. How? You gonna sell your motorcycle? Mortgage your shop? Eli's voice rose. I'm not worth destroying your life over. My son's life is worth everything. And you saved it. The guard called time. Eli stood, shoulders slumped. Mr. Mitchell. Marcus. I appreciate what you're trying to do. But some battles are already lost before they start. This is one of them. You're 14 years old. You don't get to give up yet. Eli looked at him with eyes far older than 14. I gave up a long time ago. I just keep moving because stopping means dying. The guard led him toward the door. Marcus stood. Eli. The boy turned. You had a sister. Didn't you? Eli froze. How did you? The way you grabbed Tyler. The way you knew exactly how to hold him when he panicked. You've done that before. Silence stretched between them like barbed wire. Her name was Sophia, Eli whispered. She was 7. Autistic. Drowned 3 years ago while I was at school. His voice cracked. My mom blamed me. Said I should have been watching her. I've been on the street since. When you saw Tyler falling. I saw Sophia. And this time I could save her. Eli's face contorted with grief so raw it hurt to witness. But I guess saving people just gets you punished either way. The door buzzed. Eli disappeared behind reinforced steel. Marcus stood there long after the visiting room emptied, staring at that door, fists clenched. The system wanted him to walk away. Accept that justice was a luxury reserved for people who could afford it. But Marcus Mitchell had spent 15 years rebuilding broken engines everyone said were beyond repair. And he was about to rebuild this case from the ground up. The law office of Vanessa Ortiz occupied a converted brownstone in a neighborhood where hope hadn't completely died yet. Marcus climbed the stairs, each step feeling heavier than the last. He'd called 17 lawyers yesterday. 16 hung up when he mentioned he couldn't afford a retainer. The 17th, Vanessa, had said 6 words that kept him going. Come in. Let's talk. No charge. She met him at the door. Late 30s, Latina, sharp blazer over jeans, eyes that had seen the system's ugliest truths and decided to fight anyway. Mr. Mitchell. Come in. Her office was organized chaos, case files stacked on every surface, a whiteboard covered in legal timelines, cold coffee cups forming a small graveyard on her desk. You were a public defender, Marcus said, reading the framed certificate on her wall. For 8 years. Burned out watching innocent kids get ground up by a system that treats poverty like a crime. She gestured to a chair. Now I take cases that matter. Pro bono when necessary. This one feels necessary. Why? Because I watched the news coverage. Saw that video they're using as evidence. And I've seen enough edited footage to know a setup when I see one. She pulled out a laptop. Also, I did some research on Brendan Whitmore. Her screen filled with documents. Sealed juvenile records, school transfer paperwork, incident reports with convenient gaps. How did you get? Don't ask questions you don't want answered. Vanessa scrolled through files. Brendan Whitmore. 17. Mayor's son. And a walking red flag. She clicked through records. 2021, assault on a special needs classmate. Charges dropped after the family received an undisclosed settlement. 2022, vandalism, hate speech carved into a local mosque. Community service deal buried by his father's connections. 2023, assault with a deadly weapon. Baseball bat. Victim hospitalized for 3 weeks. Marcus felt rage building in his chest like pressure in an engine about to blow. That last one is why Brendan was at your son's event, Vanessa continued. Court-ordered community service. 50 hours working with vulnerable populations. Her voice dripped contempt. The judge thought it would build character. Instead, it gave him access to Tyler. He targeted my son. I think he targeted your son specifically because Tyler is vulnerable. Because hurting him would send a message. Vanessa leaned back. Your foundation work, you've been advocating for autism funding, right? Yeah. Lobbying the city council for special education resources. The mayor's been blocking that funding for 2 years. Says it's fiscally irresponsible. She pulled up news articles. You've publicly called him out. Multiple times. Marcus saw it now. The full picture clicking into brutal focus. His son went after Tyler because of me. And when it went wrong, when Eli saved Tyler, they needed someone to blame. Enter the perfect scapegoat, a homeless kid with no family, no resources, no voice. Marcus stood, paced. So what do? We get the real footage. Country clubs have security cameras everywhere. If we can get unedited video showing what actually happened. They'll say it's corrupted. Technical difficulties. I already tried. Vanessa smiled. You tried asking nicely. I don't ask nicely. She pulled out her phone. I have a friend. Digital forensics expert. If there's recoverable data, he'll find it. And if there isn't? Then we build our case another way. We find witnesses they ignored. We expose Brendan's history. We put Tyler on the stand. No. Marcus's voice was iron. Tyler's been through enough. I'm not putting him through a trial. Marcus, his testimony could. He's 8 years old and traumatized. The answer is no. Vanessa studied him. You know that makes this 10 times harder. I don't care. We find another way. She nodded slowly. Okay. Then we go scorched earth. I'll file motions for every piece of evidence. Subpoena the club's records. Depose every witness. Make so much noise they can't ignore us. How long will that take? Weeks. Maybe months. And there's something else you should know. She pulled up another file. The DA handling this case. Rebecca Reeves. She's up for re-election next year. The mayor's endorsement could make or break her campaign. So she's in his pocket. Worse. She needs to look tough on crime for her base. A quick conviction on a case with clear video evidence plays well on the evening news. Marcus felt the walls closing in. So we're fighting the mayor, the DA, and the entire system. Pretty much. Vanessa's expression softened. Still want to do this? Eli saved my son's life. I'm not abandoning him. Good. Because neither am I. She stood, extending her hand. We do this together. No matter how ugly it gets. They shook on it. Marcus's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. The voice on the other end was digitally distorted, robotic, but the threat was crystal clear. Stop asking questions about the Whitmore family. Drop the lawyer. Let the homeless kid take his deal and disappear. Marcus's blood went cold. Who is this? Someone who knows where Tyler goes to therapy every Tuesday at 3. Someone who knows his babysitter picks him up from school at 2:45 and stops at the same coffee shop every day. The voice paused. Autistic kids wander sometimes. Get lost. Tragic accidents happen. You threatening my son? Just advising you to be careful. These country club pools can be so dangerous. Would be a shame if Tyler had another incident. One where no homeless hero shows up to save him. The line went dead. Marcus stood frozen, phone gripped so tight the screen cracked. Vanessa saw his face. What happened? They just threatened Tyler. We need to call the police. The police work for the mayor. Marcus's voice shook with barely controlled fury. Don't you see? They own everything. The cops, the courts, the DA. And now they're going after my son. His phone buzzed again. A text message. No number. A photo. Tyler leaving school that afternoon. Circled in red. A countdown timer superimposed, 72 hours. And one line of text, make the right choice. Marcus's world tilted. He'd thought this was about justice, about truth, about saving an innocent kid. But they just made it about survival. His son's survival. Vanessa grabbed his arm. Marcus. Look at me. We can protect Tyler. We can. How? By trusting the system that's threatening him. By exposing them. Going public. They can't hurt Tyler if the whole world is watching. Marcus looked at the photo again. His son. His beautiful, vulnerable, trusting son. The boy who'd almost drowned once already. The system was giving him a choice, save Eli or save Tyler. And somewhere in a detention center, Eli Torres was preparing to plead guilty to a crime he didn't commit because he believed, correctly, that the system always won. Marcus had 72 hours to prove him wrong. Or lose everything. Vanessa Ortiz didn't sleep for 48 hours. Her office had transformed into a war room, whiteboards covered in timelines, laptops running facial recognition software, case files forming paper towers that threatened to topple. Coffee cups multiplied like evidence of her obsession. Because obsession was what this required. Across from her desk sat Devin Patel, 26 years old, tech genius with a hoodie collection and a pathological hatred of injustice. His fingers flew across 3 keyboards simultaneously, lines of code scrolling faster than most people could read. Talk to me, Devin. Vanessa leaned over his shoulder. The country club's security system uses Cloud Vault Pro. Enterprise-grade storage with automatic backup protocols. His screen filled with file directories. They deleted 4 minutes of footage from camera 7, the one overlooking the deep end. Can you recover it? Devin's smile was predatory. They deleted the files. They didn't scrub the hard drive sectors. It's like burning a book but leaving the ashes. If you're patient enough, you can read what was written. His fingers danced. Recovery software churned through corrupted data, reconstructing frames pixel by pixel. Come on, he muttered. Come on, you beautiful bastard, show me what you're hiding. The screen flickered. And there it was. Brendan Whitmore approaching Tyler at the pool's edge. The timestamp read 2:47 p.m., 3 minutes before Eli's rescue. The footage was grainy, partially corrupted, but clear enough. Brendan crouching beside Tyler, dangling a toy. Tyler reaching. Brendan stepping back, drawing him toward deeper water. Chase and Trent positioning themselves, phones already out. Tyler lunging for the toy. Losing balance. Falling. Brendan's face, not shocked, not panicked, but calculating. A split second where he watched Tyler go under and did nothing. Then chaos. Tyler sinking. 40 people frozen. Brendan's hands moving rapidly on his phone screen. And Eli, appearing from the left side of frame, sprinting, launching himself into the water without hesitation. Got it. Devon hit save, creating 5 redundant backups. Full recovery. Metadata intact. This is admissible. Vanessa's hands trembled as she watched the footage again. They set him up. They deliberately put Tyler in danger, then blamed Eli when their prank went wrong. It's not just that. Devon rewound to the moment after Eli surfaced with Tyler. Watch Brendan's phone. He zoomed in, enhanced the image. Brendan's screen showed video editing software, trimming clips, adjusting angles, airdropping files to Chase and Trent's phones. He edited the footage in real time, Devon said quietly. Made 3 identical copies showing Eli pushing Tyler. Then deleted the original from his camera roll. Professional level cover-up executed in under 90 seconds. This wasn't panic, Vanessa breathed. This was premeditated. Gets better. Or worse, depending on your perspective. Devon pulled up phone records. I may have acquired Brendan's text messages through methods your lawyer brain doesn't want to know about. Show me. The messages appeared on screen. Brendan to Chase, 3 hours before the charity event. Hastings' charity thing today. His weird kid will be there. Chase, so. Dad says Hastings is why his education bill failed. Cost him political capital. We should return the favor. Chase, what are you thinking? Scare the kid. Make Hastings look like a negligent parent. Film it for the lulz. Vanessa's stomach turned. They planned it. More messages. Sent during the event, after Tyler fell. Trent, dude, the kid can't swim. He's actually drowning. Brendan, shit. Shit. Chase, we're so screwed. Brendan, delete your videos. Use mine. Say the homeless kid pushed him. Trent, what homeless kid? Brendan, the one who just jumped in. Perfect scapegoat. Street kid, no family, already trespassing. Our word versus his. Chase, that's genius. Brendan, I know. Now stick to the story. We're witnesses. We tried to help. He attacked Tyler. Vanessa sat back, mind racing. This is conspiracy. Evidence tampering. Witness intimidation. We can bury them. There's one more thing. Devon's voice went quiet. He pulled up security footage from a different camera, the parking lot, timestamp 9:47 p.m., 3 nights ago. The screen showed Marcus's motorcycle shop. A figure in dark clothes approaching with a gas can. Vanessa's blood went cold. That's 2 nights after Brendan's arrest. Someone torched Marcus's shop. Devon enhanced the image, pulled up facial recognition. System says 76% match to Chase Hendricks. They burned his business. And sent those threatening texts about Tyler. Devon pulled up cellular tower data. The burner phone that texted Marcus pinged off a tower 3 blocks from Chase's house. Vanessa stood, paced. We have everything. The real footage. The conspiracy texts. The arson connection. This doesn't just exonerate Eli, this destroys them. So why do you look terrified? She turned to face him. Because the mayor's son is about to go down for multiple felonies. And powerful people don't lose quietly. Her phone rang. Marcus. Tell me you found something, he said without preamble. Everything. Devon recovered the full footage. It shows Brendan deliberately causing Tyler to fall, then orchestrating the cover-up. Plus text messages proving premeditation. Silence on the other end. Then, send it to me. Marcus, we need to be strategic about this. If we release it wrong. Send it to me. She heard something in his voice. Something broken and dangerous. What happened? Tyler's in the hospital. Vanessa's world stopped. What? Someone broke into our house last night. Destroyed his communication devices. All of them. Backup tablet, laptop, everything. Smashed them to pieces and left them on his bed. Marcus's voice shook. Tyler found them this morning. Had a complete meltdown. Stopped breathing. Paramedics said it was a panic-induced asthma attack. Oh God, Marcus. He's stable now. But he can't talk. Can't communicate. And the one thing that gave him a voice. They destroyed it. A long pause. They went after my son because I wouldn't back down. We're going to the police. The police work for the mayor. How many times do I have to say it? His voice cracked. They threatened Tyler and then they followed through. What's next? What do they do next if I keep fighting? Vanessa closed her eyes. Marcus, if you stop now, Eli goes to prison for saving Tyler's life. Brendan walks free. They win. And if I keep fighting, Tyler might die. They're bluffing. Are they? Marcus's voice was raw. Because my son just stopped breathing. That seems pretty real to me. Devon watched Vanessa's face go pale. What do you want to do? She asked quietly. I don't know. Marcus sounded hollowed out. Eli's hearing is tomorrow. He's going to take the plea deal. 6 months. Maybe that's the right choice. Maybe some battles aren't worth. Don't say that. Don't you dare say that. My son is in a hospital bed because I tried to do the right thing. Your son is in a hospital bed because corrupt people are trying to scare you into silence. Vanessa's voice rose. That's what they do, Marcus. They make you so afraid that you police yourself. That you give up before they even have to lift a finger. Silence stretched between them. If we go public with this evidence, Marcus said slowly, they'll retaliate. Probably. Tyler could get hurt. Or Tyler could finally be safe. Because the whole world will be watching, and they can't hurt him if everyone's looking. You don't know that. No. I don't. Vanessa's voice softened. But I know what happens if we let them win. Eli goes to prison. Brendan learns he's untouchable. And the next time some kid drowns while rich boys film it for entertainment, there won't be anyone brave enough to jump in. She heard Marcus breathing on the other end. Heard the hospital sounds in the background, beeping monitors, soft voices, the mechanical hum of machines keeping vigil. Send me everything, he said finally. Every piece of evidence. Every text message. Every frame of footage. What are you going to do? Something probably stupid. His voice hardened. But I'm done being afraid. The next morning, Rafael Santos, investigative journalist, 3-time Emmy winner, man who'd built a career exposing corruption, received an anonymous email. The subject line read, "The truth about Tyler Mitchell." He opened it. And his jaw dropped. Full security footage. Text message screenshots. Phone records. Digital forensics reports. A complete, devastating timeline of conspiracy, corruption, and cover-up. And a note at the bottom. Eli Torres sits in juvenile detention for saving a drowning child. Brendan Whitmore walks free despite orchestrating assault, evidence tampering, and witness intimidation. The system protects the powerful. Will you? Raphael stared at his screen for 10 seconds. Then he picked up his phone and called his producer. Clear tonight's broadcast. All of it. I've got something that's going to blow this city wide open. By 5 p.m., every news outlet in the city had received the same email. By 5:30, Rafael Santos was live on air. Good evening. What I'm about to show you will shock you. A 14-year-old homeless boy sits in detention tonight, accused of assault. But new evidence, video footage recovered by forensic experts, tells a very different story. He played the full footage. Unedited. Raw. Brendan luring Tyler to deep water. Tyler falling. 40 people frozen. Eli diving in without hesitation. Then the conspiracy. The edited footage. The text messages. The arson. The threats. This is the video the mayor's son didn't want you to see, Raphael continued. This is the cover-up that almost sent an innocent child to prison. And this is what happens when power believes it's above accountability. The broadcast went viral in minutes. Justice for Eli trended nationally in under an hour. Country club phone lines melted down. The mayor's office issued a no comment that sounded like panic. And in his hospital room, Marcus sat beside Tyler's bed, holding his son's hand, watching the city wake up to the truth. His phone rang. Vanessa. You did it, she said. It's everywhere. They can't bury this. Is Eli safe? Judge postponed his hearing. DA's office is in chaos. Marcus, I think we might actually win this. He looked at Tyler, sleeping fitfully, medication keeping the panic at bay. We better. Because I just bet everything. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. He opened it. A photo of Eli in his detention cell. And a message, your son wasn't the only one we can reach. The phone slipped from Marcus's hands, clattering on the hospital floor. Vanessa's voice came through tinny and distant, Marcus. Marcus, what's wrong? But he couldn't speak. Because the photo showed something in Eli's cell that shouldn't be there. A pillowcase, knotted into a noose, hanging from the ventilation grate. And a timestamp, 23 minutes ago. Marcus ran. Marcus's motorcycle screamed through city streets, weaving between traffic, every red light a suggestion he ignored. His phone was on speaker, Vanessa's voice cutting through wind and engine roar. I called the detention center, they're doing a welfare check on Eli right now. How long ago was that photo taken? 23 minutes. Marcus, the guards do rounds every 30. If someone got to him. He didn't let her finish. Couldn't let himself think about what that noose meant. About a 14-year-old kid so broken by the system that ending it seemed like the only way out. Or worse, about powerful people with enough reach to get to someone even behind bars. The juvenile detention center rose ahead, concrete and razor wire against the evening sky. Marcus abandoned his bike in the fire lane, sprinted toward the entrance. Security stopped him at the door. Sir, visiting hours are. Eli Torres. Cell block C, someone sent me a photo, he's in danger. The guard's radio crackled. A voice came through, tense, code yellow, cell C7. Inmate unresponsive. Medical en route. Marcus's world tilted. The guard grabbed his arm as he tried to push past. Sir, you need to. That's my kid in there. The words came out before Marcus could stop them. Not true legally, not true by blood, but true in every way that mattered. Please. If you're watching this and believe that some battles are worth fighting no matter the cost, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel, because stories like Eli's don't end unless we make enough noise that the powerful can't ignore us anymore. Your engagement matters. It's how truth wins. The guard's expression shifted. He'd seen the news. Everyone had. Third floor. But you stay behind the medical team. Understood? Marcus ran. The cell door was open when Marcus arrived, guards and EMTs crowding the entrance. His heart hammered against his ribs as he pushed through. And stopped. Eli sat on the floor, back against the wall, very much alive. His face was streaked with tears, but he was breathing, conscious, staring at something in his hands. The noose lay on the floor beside him. Cut down. But not by Eli. A guard knelt beside him, Officer Patricia Reyes, 50s, Latina, eyes that had seen too many kids give up. She was talking quietly, one hand on Eli's shoulder. You're okay. You're safe. Just keep breathing. Marcus's legs nearly gave out with relief. What happened? Patricia looked up. You're Mitchell. The biker dad. Not a question. She gestured to Eli's hands. Someone left this in his cell during dinner. Eli held up a photograph. The same one Marcus had received, the noose in the cell, the timestamp. But on the back, written in marker, take the deal or use this. Your choice. Marcus felt rage so pure it burned like ice. They'd staged the photo. Planted the noose. Gave a suicidal kid the method and the motivation. Who has access to the cells? Marcus demanded. Patricia's jaw clenched. I'm trying to find out. But someone walked contraband into a secure facility and left it for a minor with a camera ready. That's not random. The EMTs checked Eli's vitals, elevated heart rate, shock, but physically unharmed. One tried to get him to speak, but Eli had gone somewhere inside himself where words couldn't reach. Marcus knelt beside him. Eli. Look at me. Slowly, the boy's eyes focused. Did you? Marcus couldn't finish the question. I thought about it. Eli's voice was barely a whisper. For about 10 seconds, I thought about how easy it would be. How quiet. Tears tracked down his face. But then I thought about Tyler. About how scared he must have been underwater. About how I didn't give up on him. His hands shook around the photograph. So I figured maybe I shouldn't give up on me either. Marcus pulled him into a hug. Eli stiffened, touch was still hard, trust still broken, but then he collapsed into it, sobbing against Marcus's leather jacket. I've got you, Marcus said. I've got you, son. Patricia stood, radio in hand. I'm calling this in as attempted murder. Someone tried to coerce a minor into suicide. That's a whole different level of. Her radio crackled. All units, be advised. DA Rebecca Reeves is holding emergency press conference. Something about the Mitchell case. They watched it on Patricia's phone, crowded into the detention center security office. DA Reeves stood at a podium, face pale, jaw set. Behind her, the city seal. Beside her, conspicuously absent, the mayor. After reviewing new evidence that came to light this evening, my office is immediately dropping all charges against Eli Torres. The gathered reporters erupted. Cameras flashed. Reeves raised a hand. Furthermore, we are filing charges against Brendan Whitmore for assault, conspiracy to obstruct justice, evidence tampering, and witness intimidation. Additional charges are being filed against Chase Hendricks and Trent Marlowe for their roles in the conspiracy. She paused, swallowed hard. I owe Mr. Torres and the Mitchell family an apology. The system failed them. I failed them. That ends now. A reporter shouted, what about the mayor's involvement? Mayor Whitmore is currently being questioned regarding his knowledge of the cover-up and the subsequent intimidation campaign against witnesses. If evidence suggests his involvement, appropriate charges will be filed. Another reporter, when will Eli Torres be released? Immediately. All charges dismissed with prejudice, they cannot be refiled. Additionally, the city will be investigating the security breach at the juvenile detention center that placed Mr. Torres's life in danger tonight. Reeves looked directly at the camera. To Eli Torres, I'm sorry. You did something heroic, and we punished you for it. That's unforgivable. But we're going to make this right. The press conference dissolved into chaos. Patricia turned off her phone. Looked at Eli. You heard the lady. Let's get you out of that jumpsuit. 40 minutes later, Eli walked out of the detention center in the same clothes he'd been arrested in, still smelling faintly of pool chlorine, still 2 sizes too big. Marcus waited by his motorcycle. Vanessa stood beside him, professional composure cracked by genuine emotion. News vans lined the street, cameras trained on the entrance. But Vanessa had called in favors. A security team formed a perimeter, keeping the media at bay. Eli stopped at the top of the stairs, overwhelmed by freedom and cameras and the weight of almost death. Marcus climbed the stairs, met him halfway. You ready? For what? Whatever comes next. Eli looked at him. I don't have anywhere to go. Streets, maybe another group home if social services. You're coming home with me. Eli blinked. What? Emergency foster placement. Vanessa pulled some strings. Judge signed off an hour ago. Marcus's voice was rough. It's temporary until we figure out something permanent. But tonight, you're not sleeping on the street or in a cell. You're sleeping in a real bed in a safe place. I don't understand. Why would you? Because you're family now. You saved my son. You fought the system. And you chose to live when they tried to break you. Marcus put a hand on Eli's shoulder. That's all the reason I need. Vanessa approached, holding paperwork. It's official. You're released into Marcus's custody pending permanent placement hearing. She smiled. And between you and me, I'm already working on making it permanent. Eli's face crumpled. I don't deserve. Stop. Marcus's voice was gentle but firm. What you deserve is a family. A home. A chance. And that's what you're getting. They descended the stairs together. At the bottom, a small figure broke free from the security perimeter. Tyler. He'd been released from the hospital that afternoon, new communication device already programmed, courage rebuilt one small step at a time. He ran to Eli, wrapped small arms around his waist. Typed on his device, hero. Brother. Safe. Now. Eli broke down completely, sinking to his knees, holding Tyler like a lifeline. Marcus looked up to see hospital staff had brought a wheelchair to the curb. Keisha, Tyler's therapist, stood beside it with tears streaming down her face. Behind her, a growing crowd of supporters, members from Marcus's motorcycle club, parents from Tyler's therapy group, strangers who'd seen the news and needed to witness justice. A biker named Diesel, 6'4", more tattoos than skin, heart of absolute gold, approached Marcus. Shops rebuilt. Better than before. 15 clubs donated labor and materials. You're back in business Monday. Marcus couldn't speak. Could only nod. Rafael Santos appeared, camera crew in tow, but he held up a hand keeping them at a distance. Just wanted to say, what you did took guts. Fighting the system when it's rigged against you. He looked at Eli. And kid, you're the bravest person I've ever covered. Don't let anyone tell you different. Eli looked up, face wet. I just did what anyone should have done. Exactly. Raphael smiled sadly. But most people don't. That's what makes you a hero. 3 months later, the courtroom was packed for Brendan Whitmore's sentencing. Judge Patricia Moreno, stern, fair, taking no nonsense, reviewed the case files one final time. Brendan stood at the defense table, expensive lawyers flanking him, face pale. His father sat in the gallery, but they hadn't spoken in weeks. The mayor had resigned, facing his own legal battles. "Brendan Whitmore, you've been found guilty of assault, conspiracy, evidence tampering, and witness intimidation." Judge Moreno's voice was iron. "You deliberately endangered a vulnerable child for entertainment. You orchestrated a cover-up that nearly destroyed an innocent boy's life. And when exposed, your family attempted to coerce that boy into suicide." She paused. "You're 17. Old enough to know better. Old enough to face real consequences." Brendan's lawyer started to speak, but the judge raised a hand. However, she looked at Marcus, sitting in the front row with Tyler and Eli. "The victim's father has submitted a statement. Mr. Mitchell, would you like to address the court?" Marcus stood. The courtroom went silent. 3 months ago, I would have wanted Brendan to rot in prison. His voice carried. But my son taught me something. He gestured to Tyler, who typed on his device, "Everyone deserves second chances." "So here's what I want," Marcus continued. "Brendan admits publicly what he did. Apologizes, really apologizes, not PR scripted garbage. And he spends the next 5 years working with special needs organizations. Learning that people like my son aren't targets. They're human beings deserving respect." He looked at Brendan. "If you do that, really do it, maybe you become someone worth forgiving." Judge Moreno studied Brendan. "Do you have anything to say?" Brendan's lawyer whispered frantically, but Brendan shook his head and stood. "I did everything they said I did. I hurt Tyler because I thought it was funny. I blamed Eli because I was a coward." His voice cracked. "I've had everything handed to me my whole life. And I used it to hurt people weaker than me." He turned to Tyler. "You deserved better. You deserved to feel safe, and I took that from you. I'm sorry." To Eli. "You saved someone I put in danger, and I tried to destroy your life for it. I'm sorry." To Marcus, "I don't deserve a second chance. But if you're offering one, I'll spend the rest of my life earning it." Judge Moreno was silent for a long moment. 5 years probation. 2,000 hours of community service working exclusively with special needs populations. Mandatory therapy. Full restitution to Eli Torres and Marcus Mitchell. And 1 year in juvenile rehabilitation facility focusing on empathy training and anger management. She leaned forward. "If you complete this program successfully and demonstrate real change, you'll have a future. If you don't, you'll serve the maximum sentence in adult prison. Your choice." "I understand, Your Honor." "Then we're done here." 6 months later, Tyler's 9th birthday party filled Marcus's rebuilt shop with laughter. The space had been transformed. One half still motorcycle repair, but the other half now housed Second Dive, Eli's nonprofit teaching water safety to special needs kids. A pool had been installed in the back, shallow, safe, supervised. Tyler floated on his back, life vest bright orange, Eli treading water beside him. "You're doing great, Tyler. Just relax. The water holds you." Tyler's device, mounted in a waterproof case, spoke, "Not scared anymore. Water is friend." Marcus watched from the edge, arm around Vanessa. They'd been dating for 3 months now, slow, careful, both still healing from their own battles. "You thinking about the adoption hearing next week?" she asked. "Yeah. Think the judge will approve?" "I wrote the petition myself. It's airtight." She smiled. "Eli Torres Mitchell has a nice ring to it." Across the pool, Brendan Whitmore knelt beside a young autistic girl, helping her with floaties. He'd been volunteering at Second Dive for 4 months now, part of his community service. His relationship with Eli was complicated, not friendship, not yet, but something like understanding. The kind of fragile connection built on genuine remorse and cautious forgiveness. Tyler swam over to Brendan, typed, "Good. Teacher. Thank you." Brendan's eyes watered. "Thank you for giving me a chance to be better." Nina, Marcus's girlfriend, the waitress who'd risked her job to testify, brought out a cake shaped like a motorcycle. Diesel and his biker crew sang off-key. Keisha captured it all on video. Rafael Santos was there too, filming a follow-up piece titled, "1 Year Later, How One Rescue Changed a City." And in the corner, almost unnoticed, Patricia Reyes, the guard who'd saved Eli's life that night in detention, watched with quiet satisfaction. The country club had new management, new policies, new humanity. Prescott Vance faced criminal charges. The mayor was awaiting trial. And the city had passed Tyler's law, mandating autism training for all public facility staff. One drowning. One rescue. One fight against a rigged system. And everything changed. As the sun set and the party wound down, Marcus found Eli sitting alone by the pool, feet dangling in water. "You okay?" "Yeah." Eli smiled, a real one, the kind that reached his eyes now. "Just thinking about Sophia. Wishing she could have seen this." "She did. Through you." Marcus sat beside him. "Every kid you teach to swim. Every family you help. That's her legacy living on." Eli nodded, throat tight. "Next week, when the judge asks if you want to be adopted, what are you going to say?" Eli looked at him. At Tyler splashing with other kids. At Vanessa laughing with Nina. At the community that had formed around one act of courage. "I'm going to say yes. To all of it. The family. The future. The chance to be someone who matters." "You already matter, Eli." "I know. But now I believe it." They sat in comfortable silence as stars began appearing overhead. That pool was just water. But what happened there changed how a city saw courage, justice, and second chances. One choice. One moment. One person refusing to look away. Eli saved Tyler from drowning. Tyler saved Brendan from becoming a monster. And Marcus saved them both by refusing to let the system win. The powerful wanted this story buried. Instead, it became a movement. Because fairness isn't what's legal. It's what's right. And sometimes, the people the world throws away are the ones who save us all. Tyler typed one final message on his device, voice cutting through the evening air. "Heroes don't wear capes. They just jump in." And somewhere in the growing darkness, 40 people who once stood frozen remembered that moment by the pool. Remembered their silence. And vowed never to look away again. Because that's how the world changes. One jump at a time.